Namaste, everyone. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you for this closing session of the first week of our 10-day IKS certificate course. And I just want to remind everyone to reflect and put some thoughts on what title we have put to our certificate course. We are looking at integrating Indian knowledge systems in academia through NEP 2020. And the purpose of this gathering is to build up and put forward a vision for civilizational reclamation. So on behalf of my team at Nucleus of Learning and Development, and also on behalf of our collaborating institution, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, Shri Anandpur Sahib, Punjab, I welcome you. And I was just discussing a few minutes ago with Rajwinder ji, who's here with us. She's from Amritsar, Punjab, and she was sharing that they're celebrating the 350th birth anniversary, right, of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur. And what a coincidence that...
No, ma'am, it's not the birth anniversary. It is about their death anniversary. It's a Matam Day of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, 350th.
Okay, so there is a commemoration of the 350th death anniversary of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur. And I think it is not a coincidence that we have collaborated with Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College in Punjab for this IKS certificate course. So I think
you might have heard about him that our Guruji is, he is known as the Hind di Chadar, and he has sacrificed his life to save the religion and to save the humanity at that time from the Mughal Aurangzeb.
Yes, definitely. And I think we must take this upon us as a collective moment of reflection to learn from his life, to learn from the values that he preached, and also to get inspired from his bravery and sacrifices. So
yes.
I'm extremely glad that we are all together, and it is my pleasure to welcome our esteemed resource person and expert for today's session, Dr. Iros Vaja, sir. Namaste, sir. Welcome. And the pleasure is much manifold because sir is in my home state, Gujarat. We are from the same land. So it's always a delight to have somebody from the same pious land that I consider as my home. And today, sir is going to talk on Indian knowledge system and the spirit of philosophy, a journey from wisdom to wonder. And when we were just discussing with my colleague, Dr. Vikas Rajkot, he was coordinating with Vaja sir, and sir had suggested so many topics which he could cover with respect to Indian knowledge systems. And he had provided us with a list that we could choose from, and we wanted to request him to speak on philosophy. And I think it is an opportune moment that sir is going to speak on this subject. I just want to also appraise Vaja sir about the wonderful last 4 sessions that we have had. So sir, we have had 4 sessions so far. Today is the 5th session, the culminating session of week 1. And we were graced by the presence of Professor Umesh Arya from Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar, Haryana in the first session. The second session was by Dr. Belu Mehra from Pondicherry. She is an expert in Shri Aurobindo's life and works. The third session was by Shri Vinay Kulkarni, who runs many IKS-centric enterprises and organizations, and he's basically an entrepreneur. And he spoke on the role of teachers in rebuilding Bharat. Yesterday, we had Dr. Sandeep Atre from Indore. He's a counseling psychologist, and he spoke about Sarvangir Vikas, the Sandipani Krishna model. And I think your lecture on Bharatiya philosophy and Bharatiya darshan and the tradition of thinking and intellectual inquiry in Bharat is, I think it's a befitting conclusion to our first week. I'm also honored to now formally introduce Dr. Iros Vaja sir, and his is a very impressive, prolific profile, and I want to take time to introduce him to all of you. Dr. Vaja is a well-known academic and a leading voice in English literature. He currently serves as an associate professor and head of Department of English at MVM Arts College, Rajkot, Gujarat. Dr. Vaja is an executive council member of the Indian Association for Canadian Studies, and he has also served as a former chairperson of the Board of Studies in English at Saurashtra University, Rajkot, and his tenure as the chairman was for 3 successive terms. Sir has an extensive portfolio of research. He has presented numerous papers at both national and international conferences and seminars. He has often chaired sessions at many such platforms. His scholarly work has been published in several prestigious journals. In the year 2016, he represented India at the annual general meeting of the IACS in Ottawa, Canada. IACS is the Indian Association for Canadian Studies. He's also presented papers in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and he participated in the 39th GTEx Technology Week in Dubai, UAE in 2019. He's the winner of the Chanakya Award in the year 2008 for social and educational services, and he's also the recipient of the Vedant Excellence Award 2020 for education and research in recognition of his significant contribution to the field. Sir has a multifold set of academic qualifications. He has a PhD in English literature. He also has a second PhD in journalism and mass communication. And apart from this, his academic training has also been in law, creative writing, and artificial intelligence-based vocabulary acquiring apparatus. He is a dedicated educator. He also serves as the academic counselor at IGNOU. He has mentored and guided numerous students in their doctoral journeys, and he has served as the examiner for PhD vivas at various universities of repute across India. He's a regular voice on radio and a familiar face on television, where he delivers many thought-provoking talks on diverse topics, and he's also a valued member of several advisory and editorial boards of many refereed international journals. Of course, since he is from the literature background, he has himself written and compiled works in this field. He's the author of Myths in Girish Karnad's play, A Critical Study, Role of Mass Media in Higher Education, and he's also the author of a comprehensive handbook of the Indian knowledge systems from antiquity to eternity. In fact, we have just been contemplating how we can get Sir on board to talk about his book on the NLD platform, and it's going to happen soon.
Yes, yes.
Research interests include Indian writing in English, comparative literature, translation studies, journalism, philosophy, ICT, law, and creative writing. And I could go on and on, but this is the perfect moment for me to hand over the platform to Vaja sir, listen to him, absorb all the wisdom and knowledge that he brings for all of us on this platform, and have a very meaningful and fruitful time during the session. Thank you. સ્વાગત છે સર આપણું.
Thank you very much, Nidhi ma'am, for such a detailed introduction. Good evening, Jai Shri Krishna, Sat Shri Akal, and Jai Hind to everyone. I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible.
Yes, sir.
Am I?
Perfectly
Yeah.
audible and visible. I
Yeah,
hope
very nice.
for everyone, anything technical, please put it in the chat box. I will be happy to help.
Sure. So, once again, very good evening to everyone. Dear friends, colleagues, teachers, I welcome you all today evening, and the topic, as all of you know now, it is Indian knowledge system and philosophy. Uh, Generally speaking, philosophy is considered to be a little heavy subject because philosophy simply means the mother of all wisdom, right? I did my master's in philosophy, and I realized that philosophy is not about just Sanskrit scriptures and all these things. No, philosophy is something beyond that. So today, my intention would be to make you aware of what Indian philosophy exactly is. Most of the people know IKS. Most of the people have the idea of Indian philosophy. But today, we will discuss how philosophy is useful in the day-to-day life of the people, of the researchers, of all the teachers and all the stakeholders. At the very outset, let me express my gratitude to IKS Cell, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, Sri Anandpur Sahib, Punjab, as well as Nucleus of Learning and Development for this wonderful opportunity to collect and exchange my ideas to all of you. I welcome all of you on this two-week national certificate course, and I just came to know that I'm the last one of the week to talk on the topic. Before me, there were four eminent speakers: Dr. Umesh Arya, Dr. Mehra, Mr. Kulkarni, and Dr. Sandeep. They must have discussed IKS in detail. So I'm not going to repeat quite a few things, but yes, I would definitely give you the little different glance, different perception of what we people understand of IKS and philosophy as well. Today's topic, as all of you know now, integrating Indian knowledge system in the title of the program is Vision for Civilizational Reclamation. It is truly a delight to be here with you today. Even though we are in a virtual environment, no, it is an online class or online discussion, I feel connected to all of you through the shared purpose of this gathering. That is exploring knowledge, exploring learning, and life through the lens of the Indian knowledge system, or what we call IKS, with a special focus on philosophy. As I told you earlier, IKS has already been discussed by four eminent speakers. So I'm not going to discuss quite a few things again. But yes, I would just tell you how this IKS is a very important segment of life, very important aspect of life. Today we are going to take a journey from knowledge to wisdom and from learning to wonder. Dear friends, learning is alive. First of all, we must keep in mind that learning is a continuous process. There are two words in English language. One is growth and another one is development, right? Growth has a limit, but development is a continuous process. It goes on and on and on. Learning is alive. Learning is a continuous process. It is practical and reflective, not just theory. I begin with a popular tale of the blind man and the elephant. Most of you have heard this tale, but I'll tell you one small story that would open up the doors of what we call IKS and philosophy, and more particularly Indian philosophy. Once a group of blind men heard that an elephant had arrived in their village. Since they had never seen one because they were blind, they decided to understand the elephant by touching it, because they were blind people and they were not in a position to see. So they started touching the elephant. One man touched the trunk of the elephant and he said, an elephant is like a thick snake. Another touched the leg of the elephant and he said, no, it's not like a snake. It's like a strong pillar. The third person came up and he also touched the ear and he said, both of you are wrong. You are all wrong. It feels like a large fan. The fourth person held the tail and he said, I am telling you the truth. An elephant is like a rock. Now, they all began arguing, each believing his own experience was the correct one. Experience was the true one. Then the wise man came up and he said, each of you is right in your own way. Because the blind man who touched the ear of the elephant, he said that it is just like the big fan. He is also right. The blind man who had touched the trunk of the elephant, right, and he made the statement that it is just like the big rock or snake, whatever, thick snake, right? But none of you is seeing the whole picture. To understand the elephant, you need to step back, think clearly, and not rely only on your senses, right? So through this small story, small tale, what I mean to say is that complete understanding does not come from information or experience alone. This is number one. हिंदी में अगर हम कहें तो केवल जानकारी या अनुभव से पूरी बात समझ में नहीं आती, as it happened in the case of 4 blind men. Second important thing that we all must keep in mind is wisdom arises when we connect experience, thought, and reflection, right? When does the wisdom arise? When we connect 3 things together. One is reflection, another one is experience, and the third one is the thought. यानी बुद्धि तब आती है जब हम अनुभव, सोच और प्रतिबिंब को जोड़ते हैं, रिफ्लेक्शन को जोड़ते हैं. Third important thing is in life and in learning, as in the Indian knowledge system, it is essential to observe, understand, and reflect so that we can grasp the whole truth, so that we don't give our opinions like the 4 blind men who had touched the elephant, different parts of the elephant, different organs of the elephant, right? So on the way, on the first day, I had joined the session for almost half an hour, and I recall Professor Umesh had made a very relevant and significant statement. He said that it is beyond understanding, it talent and language, right? That is Indian philosophy, or what we call IKS, is beyond understanding, beyond talent. He also made the statement that you should have Shraddha. He had used the word Shraddha. It is less about logic and more about Shraddha. I totally agree with Professor Umesh Arya. He had made the statement in the first session, first day, first show. मुझे पता है कि कई लोगों ने पहले ही IKS के बारे में सुना होगा, आपसे डिस्कशन की होगी. What is Indian knowledge system? Right? हर बार जब हम इसे देखते हैं, हम इसे थोड़े नजरिए से समझते हैं, अपने जीवन, अपनी सीख और अपनी सोच के संदर्भ में. I'm instructed to use Hindi and English, but I'll use 20% Hindi and 80% English. Since my background is English, so I'm not that much well versed in Hindi, but still I'm trying my level best. So I want to give you a brief idea of IKS again, not in detail, but since we are dealing with Indian philosophy and Indian knowledge system, they go hand in hand. And that is why if I directly start talking on and about the Indian philosophy, then I think our discussion would remain incomplete. So it is very important that I just briefly discuss the Indian knowledge system, not as a repetition, right, but as a foundation. Without this, the next part, that is philosophy, learning, and the journey from wisdom to wonder won't connect as deeply with your own life, right? So let us try to understand the IKS from the fresh perspective. When we talk about IKS, that is Indian Knowledge System, the first thing I like to remind you is this is not just a set of old ideas written in palm leaf manuscripts. It is a living tradition. It's a way of seeing the world. Your perception is totally changed once you understand what IKS exactly is. अगर हम सोचते हैं कि IKS का मतलब है कि केवल वेद या उपनिषद या बड़े बड़े संस्कृत ग्रंथ को पढ़ लेना, लेकिन असल में ये तो हमारे सोचने, जीने और सीखने का तरीका है. It is not all about the Vedas and Upanishads. If you look at it closely, the Indian knowledge system, or what we call IKS, is built on three simple but powerful foundations. Remember, three foundations. The first foundation of IKS is learning. The second foundation of IKS is living. And the third foundation is being. So there are three pillars on which the building of IKS is constructed. Number one is learning, living, and being. And it connects with so many other things. First of all, it connects with the knowledge with purpose, wisdom with practice, and the third one is the learning with life, right? So first of all, the first question that comes to every thinking mind is that, I'm using the word thinking mind because all minds are not thinking minds, jokes apart, but the first question when I received the invitation that I'm going to speak on Indian philosophy and Indian knowledge system, then I asked the question to myself, what is knowledge? In most modern systems, knowledge means information, right? If you ask a layman, he would say knowledge is information. If you know the facts, dates, formulas, you are considered knowledgeable. But in the Indian tradition, knowledge is not something you have. Mark my words. Knowledge is not something that you have. It is something that you become, right? It is not you have, but what you become. भारतीय परंपरा में जानना का मतलब है बन जाना. जिस सत्य को हम जान लेते हैं वह हमारे व्यक्तित्व का हिस्सा बन जाता है. जैसे कि इन इंडियन ट्रेडिशन, टू नो समथिंग मीन्स टू बिकम, राइट? द ट्रूथ वी कम टू अंडरस्टैंड becomes a part of our being, right? So it is a journey from become to being, right? IKS is a journey from to become to being. That is why our sages use the word vidya, right? Sanskrit word vidya, not just education. Forget it. Vidya cannot be translated into English, right? Because if I just make a little digression, English came in the 14th century with Geoffrey Chaucer. Sheetal madam would agree with me that before 14th century there was nothing like English. So vocabulary of English is limited compared to Sanskrit, and certain Sanskrit words can never be translated into English. So Vidya doesn't mean education. Vidya is for inner illumination. Vidya doesn't tell us what to think. It tells us how to live. This is the basic difference between education and Vidya, right? Vidya doesn't tell us what to think. It tells us how to live. You see, there is a very deep connection between learning and living. In the Indian sense, these two, that is learning and living, are inseparable. What I mean to say is that they are so much connected with each other. Learning and living, they are so much connected with each other that you cannot separate them. They are inseparable from each other. If you are not truly educated, if you don't have that vidya, it must reflect in how you speak, how you act, and how you see others. Our entire education system in the ancient times, what we call Gurukul system, was based on this philosophy. Students did not just learn texts, They learn how to lead in a disciplined, thoughtful, and meaningful life. The Guru was not just a teacher. He was not just a teacher. He was a guide. He was a philosopher. He was a parent, and sometimes even a friend. So, Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvam. I recall one Sanskrit shloka. In Sanskrit it is said, Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha Tvameva. I have forgotten the later part
Tvameva
of the
Vidya Dravinam Tvameva
Tvameva
Tvameva Sarvam Madeva Deva.
Deva Deva. Okay, thank you very much for the help. Okay, so the Guru was not just a guide or just a teacher. He was he played multiple roles. He played the role of a guide. He played the role of a philosopher, parent. So many roles he had to play. गुरुकुल में शिक्षा केवल विषयों की नहीं थी, जीवन की शिक्षा दी जाती थी. वहां कोई पाठ्यक्रम नहीं था, बल्कि संस्कार सिखाए जाते थे. Right? So think about it. In the Gurukul, the day started before sunrise. Students would wake up. They cleaned the ashram. They used to fetch water. They used to meditate and then begin study. The act of study itself was sacred. Even learning how to ask question was considered an art, right? जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं तमीज होनी चाहिए, right? So asking a question with that tamiz is an art, right? We find this even in Upanishads. Dialogues between teacher and the students are full of curiosity, human and reflection. A student asks, for example, if he has some doubt, he would ask, what is that by knowing which everything becomes known? Look at the question. वो क्या है जिसे जान लेने पर बाकी सब कुछ जाना जा सकता है, right? This has been taken from Mundak Upanishad. That is not a scientific question. It is a philosophical question, right? The question is, वो क्या चीज है जिसे जान लेने पर बाकी सब कुछ जाना जा सकता है? Such type of questions were asked in the Gurukul. Now you can just understand what type of education was provided, vidya was provided to the students. And that is where the spirit of Indian knowledge lies. To go from known to unknown, from information to realization. This is all about Indian knowledge system. We have many, we move from merely knowing to truly understanding and finally becoming. This is real education when knowledge settles into the student's life. If you look at the modern education today, as most of us are teachers, especially in the Western education system, it is often fragmented. We study subjects in isolation. Physics is separate from ethics. Then economics, for example, is separated from ecology. But in the Indian tradition, all knowledge was interconnected. Philosophy, then say art, science, medicine, spirituality, all were seen as part of the continuous web of wisdom. That is why our ancient thinkers never divided disciplines. Ayurveda wasn't just a medicine. It was the science of life. Vastu Shastra wasn't just architecture. It was about harmony between human and nature. Music was not just entertainment. Music was a path to the divine, right? So, भारतीय परंपरा में हर विषय में अध्यात्म की छाप है. हर कला, हर विज्ञान जीवन से जुड़ा हुआ है. And the most beautiful part of IKS is, the part that I like the most is, learning was never an end. It was always means to live rightly, to act wisely, and to see deeply. That was the meaning of learning. The meaning of learning was to act wisely, to live rightly, and to see deeply. Knowledge was for liberation, not for competition. Right? Today, as all of us know, the information, the degrees, they have become the part of competition. In the Bhagavad Gita, if I recall Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna says, Sarva karma akhilam jnana pari samapyate. He says, if I translate it into English, it might be a poor translation, but still, all actions culminate in knowledge. But the same Gita also says, Jnanam ladva param shantim. When you gain knowledge, you gain peace. So knowledge is both the journey and the destination, right? These two slokas taken from Bhagavad Gita. The meaning of these two slokas is when we gain knowledge, we gain what? What we peace. Sa vidyaya vimuktaye, right? It liberates. And if it doesn't liberate, if it cannot liberate, we don't call it vidya. And also vidya, vini and shobhate, right? That is what we had learned when we were children. Even today, we see traces of that system in our cultural habits. The way elders bless young learners before exam, when students come to us, they touch the feet of the teachers, they touch the feet of the elders, and we say, may there be attainment of knowledge and wisdom. The respect we give to the books by touching them before using them. See, if our leg touches the book, we just do namaskar to the book, right? Because book is not just a book. It is the symbol of wisdom, symbol of purity. So let me tell you something interesting. When we talk about IKS, people often think it is about glorifying the past, right? Most of the people believe that IKS is all about glorifying the past. But the real purpose of studying IKS is to understand how those timeless ideas can help us deal with today's problems, our stress level, our disconnection, over-information, and loss of meaning. Dear friends, the biggest problem of the day is the stress. Stress kills more than any other disease. But you can find the remedy for the stress in Indian knowledge system. आज के समय में जब आप नॉलेज को सिर्फ डेटा समझने लगे हैं, तब IKS हमें ये याद दिलाता है कि असली ज्ञान वो है जो जीवन में आनंद और संतुलन लाए. And if that knowledge, so-called knowledge, doesn't bring that pleasure and the balance in life, it's not knowledge. It might be something else. कुछ भी हो सकता है, लेकिन वो नॉलेज नहीं हो सकता. इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम हमें ये सिखाती है कि ज्ञान वो है जो जीवन में आनंद लाए, दैट इज प्लेजर एंड संतुलन माने बैलेंस ऑफ माइंड. टुडेज एजुकेशन, व्हाट डिड इट ब्रिंग? इट ब्रॉट stress, it brought disconnection. We have over information. For example, we have AI these days, right? Chat GPT and Perplexity and this and that, right? We have over information and it is also problematic. So when we talk about Indian knowledge system, we are not talking about nostalgia. We are talking about relevance. We are rediscovering a way of knowing that is deeply human, deeply holistic and compassionate. And maybe that is why this topic, particular topic, I have chosen today to discuss with you Indian knowledge system and the spirit of philosophy, learning, life, and the journey from wonder to wisdom is not just academic, it is deeply personal. क्योंकि हमारी सोच, हमारे संस्कार और हमारे जीवन दर्शन से जुड़ा हुआ विषय है. Because it is subject connected to our way of thinking, our values, and our philosophy of life. Now we have understood the IKS. Now let us look at its beating heart, that is philosophy. As I told you earlier, philosophy is the mother of all wisdom. If we look at the term philosophy, dictionary meaning, it comes from two Greek words, philo and sophia. Philo means love and sophia means wisdom. So when we put them together, philo and sophia, philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. The ancient Greeks used this word for people who were curious about truth and wanted to understand life, nature, and human behavior. Philosophy doesn't start with big theories. It starts with simple desire to know. The word itself tells us that a philosopher is someone who loves wisdom. Not only that, he keeps asking questions to understand the life in a better way, right? Who is the philosopher? Philosopher is not the person who has studied philosophy or got master's degree in philosophy or done PhD in philosophy. Philosopher is a person who loves wisdom and keeps asking questions. Questions for what? To understand life better. Philosophy starts exactly with curiosity. If there is no curiosity, there cannot be philosophy. No book or no theory comes first. The first step is the desire to know. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना, there must be some thirst, प्यास होनी चाहिए. अगर प्यास नहीं है तो philosophy आपके लिए नहीं है. The word philosophy itself, love of wisdom, it captures the spirit. When we question ordinary things in a deeper way, we enter the world of philosophy. This is the gateway to philosophy. When we ask simple questions in a deeper way. But here is the thing. Indian philosophy is totally different from the way people often think of philosophy in the West, right? Philosophy in the West is connected with physics and mathematics, right? In India, philosophy is connected with adhyatma, spirituality, what we call. In the West, philosophy often starts with doubt. For example, it begins with doubt. How do I know what I know? Say, for example, what is truth? But in India, philosophy starts with wonder. This is the basic difference between the Western philosophy and the Indian philosophy. Let me tell you again. In the West, philosophy begins with doubt, while the Indian philosophy it starts with wonder. Say, for example, Indian philosophy would ask questions like, who am I? And what is the nature of this life I am living? ये सिर्फ सोचने का सवाल नहीं है, बल्कि देखने और समझने का सवाल है. दर्शन का मतलब ही है. फिलोसॉफी को हम दर्शन कहते हैं, जीवन को और खुद को गहराई से देखना. So philosophy in India is not a subject you study from a book. It is a lens through which you see everything. For example, your actions, your relationships, even the world around you. It's practical, it is deeply personal, and it is all about the human existence. बहुत heavy हो रहा है. It is going to be very heavy. So I would just tell you one simple story so that you can understand the things that we have discussed earlier in a better way. Once a disciple asked the Guru, he said, Gurudev, what is the difference between knowledge and philosophy? The Guru said, place 2 lamps outside the ashram tonight. दिए कहते हैं, तुम 2 दिए लेके जो बाहर जाओ और आश्रम के बाहर दिए रख के आओ, and tell me in the morning what has happened. In the morning, the disciple reported, कहा गुरुजी, पहला जो दिया था, the first lamp went out in the wind, और दूसरा जो दिया था, the second lamp, was still burning because it had a small glass cover around it, right? 2 दिए लेके गया था शिष्य, एक बुझ गया, दूसरा नहीं बुझा, क्योंकि दूसरे के around there was a glass cover. The Guru replied, that is the difference between knowledge and philosophy. Knowledge is the lamp outside, the wind blows and it goes out. Philosophy is the lamp within. No storm can extinguish it. He smiled gently and Guru added, Indian philosophy teaches us to light the lamp within. बाहर के प्रकाश नहीं है, लाइट जल रही है मेरे कमरे में, right? So it is not something within. We have to light the lamp within. Otherwise, outer knowledge becomes a servant of every passing wind. Indian philosophy has always been living wisely. It is not just ideas on paper. It is guidance on how we live. For example, take Bhagavad Gita. Arjun is confused in the Kurukshetra. He's confused, he's scared and unsure of what to do. उसने कहा पितामह खड़े हैं सामने, मेरे भैया भाई खड़े हैं. And Krishna's answer is not some abstract theory. It's advice for living in the real world. Act with awareness and do your duty and don't get attached to the results. गीता हमें यही सिखाती है, कर्म करो पर परिणाम में मत फंसो. That is, act sincerely but don't get stuck in the result. यह दर्शन का वास्तविक सार है. जीवन में दर्शन तभी काम करता है जब उसे जिया जाए. That means philosophy in the Indian sense is not about debating endlessly. It is about asking the right questions. Say for example, कैसे कहते हैं right question? पूछते हैं, who am I? Why am I here? How should I act? And then living your life based on your answers. There are 6 systems of the thought, जिसे कहते हैं षड दर्शन. षड माने 6. Indian philosophy or Indian philosophical heritage is wonderfully diverse. There are 6 classical systems. Most of you know it. First of all, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, then Yoga, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Each with its own perspective, but all aiming for the same goal, right? The goal is the same, understanding reality and living in harmony with it. जिसे हम जो सोचते हैं कि क्या सिखाती है न्याय? न्याय teaches us logic, how to think clearly and reason well. Vaisheshika teaches us about the matter, nature, and the structure of the world. Then comes Sankhya. Sankhya separates consciousness from matter, that is Purush from Prakriti. Why does it do so? So that we can understand the source of experience. Yoga shows how to unite the mind, body, and the consciousness through practice. Professor Umesh on the very first day had discussed it in detail on the first day of our session. Then comes Mimamsa. Mimamsa focuses on action and ethics, how to live rightly. And last but not the least, छठा दर्शन में ये सिखाता है Vedanta. Vedanta teaches us the oneness of the self in the ultimate reality, right? जिसे ये सारी बातों को अगर मैं एक उदाहरण के साथ समझाऊं तो I'm going to tell you the everything in just one example. कोई एक आश्रम था, बहुत बड़ा आश्रम था. One day a man asked Guru, he said, why have these so many philosophies in India? No, बहुत 6 darshan hai, right? Why not just one philosophy? The Guru took him into a room and had 6 windows. The room had 6 windows. जैसे 6 दर्शन हमने कहे ने. So एक भैया है, उसने बोला कि गुरुजी ये बहुत सारी philosophies क्यों हैं? 6 दर्शन है, ये है वो. So Guru took him to a room and the room had 6 windows. He said, look outside from any one of them. The man looked through the first window and Guru ने उसे पूछा कि भैया क्या दिखाई दिया? Then the man said, I can see a tree. He checked the second and वो आदमी ने कहा कि भाई here I can see more of the sky. Guru से तीसरी विंडो पे ले गए. From the third window he said, from here I can see the river. Then the Guru said, the windows are different, so the views look different, but the world outside is the same. I think you have got it. Windows are different, right? But the goal is the same. World outside is the same. So Indian philosophies work in the same way. These are the 6 different windows, but the world outside is the same. एक window से उसको दिखाई दिया, tree दिखाई दिया. From the second window, he could see the sky. From the third window, he could see the river, right? So even outside these 6 schools, 6 traditions, Buddhist, Jain, then Bhakti, Sufi, all these traditions continued in the same search of their own ways. No single path was monopoly of truth. They have their different paths. They have their own truths. Every school encouraged reflection. Every school encouraged personal experiences. They had their own discussions. India has always had a special kind of unity in diversity. Every school of thought was different, but all of them aimed at the same thing, right? जैसे हम कहते हैं ना 6 window है, right? Every thought was different, but all of the windows, all of the thoughts had the same thing: the search for truth and the purpose of life. So, in brief, Indian philosophy is all about 2 things. Number 1 is the search for truth, and the second is the purpose of life. एक ओशो की बहुत बहुत अच्छी एक कहानी है ओशो के बारे में. Once in a gathering, someone asked Osho, Rajneesh, उसने कहा, one of the 6 philosophies, which one is the most correct? ओशो का जवाब तो आप जानते हैं, बहुत सारे लोगों ने ओशो को पढ़ा होगा, ओशो को सुना होगा. उसका अलग ही अंदाज था ओशो का. एक बंदा गया, उससे पूछा कि गुरुदेव ये 6 फिलोसॉफीज है, राइट, आपको कौन सी ज्यादा अच्छी लगती है? Osho smiled and he said, the 7th one. The man was puzzled. He said, 7th one? Which one is that? Osho laughed and said, the philosophy of personal experience. The 6 philosophies are the paths. They are the different ways. The 7th is the place you reach on your own. Sankhya gives you clarity. Yoga teaches discipline. Nyaya gives logic. Vaisheshika explains the nature of the matter. Mimamsa uncovers the deeper meaning of action. Vedanta opens the door to non-dual awareness, but the final destination is yours alone. So that man paused and said,
सर प्लीज फिर
Yes.
से बोलिएगा, प्लीज प्लीज
Yeah.
प्लीज. धन्यवाद.
क्या ये ओशो वाली कहानी है? ओशो.
डॉक्टर दीक्षिता, व्हाट आप क्या रिपीट करने को रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं सर को?
सांख्य से वेदांता, जैसे
हाँ,
सांख्य की
हाँ.
क्लियरिटी है.
ओशो ने ये बताया कि देखिए भाई, these are 6 ways है, there are 6 different ways, but destination is the 7th one, right? It is the place you reach on your own. Okay, then Sankhya gives clarity. Also, yeah, yoga teaches discipline. Nyaya, that is logic, it gives us logic, right? Then Vaisheshika explains the nature of matter. Mimamsa uncovers the deeper meaning of action. Vedanta opens the door to non-dual awareness, but the final destination is yours, because everybody cannot understand all these mimamsas and all these different ways, right? But the matter of the fact is that the destination is the same and we have to reach there. And that is why Osho said that I like the 7th one. He paused and said, don't hold on to philosophy, hold on to life. Philosophy is only support, not the destination itself. So you bring the destination or you go to the destination. These are the different ways. At the core of, I think it is clear, madam? Or should
Yes.
I?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At the core of Indian philosophy is the idea that to understand the universe, you must first understand yourself. In other words, if I say, if I don't understand myself, I won't be able to understand others, right? यूनिवर्स को समझने की बात तो बहुत दूर की है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई मस्ट बिगिन, इंग्लिश में कहते हैं ना, चैरिटी बिगिंस एट होम, राइट? सो आई मस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड माई सेल्फ, देन आई विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द यूनिवर्स. एक बहुत अच्छी एक और कहानी है. एक स्टूडेंट था, वो अपने टीचर के पास गया और उसने टीचर को पूछा, व्हाट इज दैट बाय नोइंग which everything becomes known? अगर ऐसी कोई चीज है जिसे जान लेने से मैं सब कुछ जान सकता हूं? And the teacher replied, तत्वमसि, you are that, right? तत्वमसि, खुद को जान लो तो पूरा यूनिवर्स को उसके बाद में आप जान सकते हो. अगर खुद को नहीं समझा तो जैसे संतों ने यही बताया है ना, नरसिंह मेहता को ले लो, नानक जी को ले लो, उसने यही बताया है कि पहले खुद को समझो, बिगिन विथ योरसेल्फ. एक बंदा था, a seeker had spent many years in search of God. He visited every pilgrimage sites, मंदिर, मस्जिद, गुरुद्वारा, कहीं भी बहुत सारे ठिकाने पे गया, and met every saint he could, but still he never felt that he had found the divine. He was tired and he was disappointed. He wanted he wandered into the forest one day and he met an old monk. उसे मिला बाबा को, उसने कहा, बाबा, I have been searching for God for years. जिसे मुझे याद आता है विवेकानंद जैसे रामकृष्ण परमहंस के पास गए थे और पहला सवाल यही किया था, Have you seen the God? Right? रामकृष्ण परमहंस बहुत बड़े गुरु. So ये बंदा बाबा के पास गया, उसने पूछा, I have been searching for God for years, but still I haven't found him. Where is he? The monk, very talented, very wise, he smiled and he asked. He didn't reply the question. He asked the question to that man. He said, whom are you looking for? उसने बंदे ने कहा, मैं भगवान का पूछ रहा हूं. The seeker replied, God. The monk again asked again. He said, and the one who is searching, who is that? Right? I think you are getting my point, right? वो बंदे ने पूछा कि भाई भगवान कहाँ है? तो उसने कहा कि मतलब and the one who is searching, who is that? The seeker stayed silent for a moment, then said, it is me. The monk laughed and gently said, that is the problem. As long as this me remains, God will say, he will stay hidden, right? The day this me dissolves, he will appear on his own. You are looking for him outside while he is sitting within you. He's smiling. You don't need to go to any place in search of the God. He is always inside you. He added, the monk added, this is the heart of philosophy. The search is not outside, it is the within. Western thought often tries to conquer the outer world, while Indian thought explores the mystery inside. When a person dives within, he discovers that the himself is the one he has been searching for. The essence of the universe and the essence of the self is the one. ये ज्ञान केवल दिमाग तक सीमित नहीं है, जिसे हम फिलोसॉफी कहते हैं, ये दिमाग तक सीमित नहीं है. This understanding is not limited to mind. ये हमारे दृष्टिकोण, हमारे परसेप्शन, सोच, the way we think, और हमारे व्यवहार को बदल देता है, the way we behave. So it changes everything. It changes our दृष्टिकोण, that is our perception. हमारी सोच को बदल देता है, हमारे the way we think, and it changes the way we behave. जब आप ये समझते हैं कि आप और ब्रह्मांड अलग नहीं है, तब आपकी दुनिया बदल जाती है, right? If I tell you the same thing in English, when you realize that you and the universe are not separate, your whole world shifts, everything changes. Different क्यों लगता है? Because we think that मैं और ब्रह्मांड अलग है. the moment I think that मैं और ब्रह्मांड अलग नहीं है, right? तो यथा पिंडे तथा ब्रह्मांडे ऐसा कुछ भी है. Now let us focus our attention on three important aspects of Indian philosophy. पहला आता है नैतिकता, दूसरा करुणा, और तीसरी जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात बताई गई है इंडियन फिलोसॉफी में, वो है भावनात्मक बुद्धि. If I translate naitikta, it is somewhat ethics. Karuna is naturally it's compassion. In bhavnatmak buddhi, yani emotional wisdom. So three things one must remember to understand Indian philosophy. They are ethics, compassion, and wisdom. Indian philosophy never separates intellect from emotional or ethics. Wisdom is incomplete without compassion, right? कोई वाइज बहुत हो गए, ज्ञानी पुरुष है, लेकिन कंपेशन नहीं है, यानी करुणा नहीं है. So these three things are again inseparable from one another. Why? Because they are so much so connected with each other that we can't separate them. They are ethics, compassion, and emotional wisdom. Buddhism calls it karuna, right? Compassion, that is karuna. Alongside prajna, that is wisdom. Vedanta pairs knowledge, that is jnana, with devotion. हमारे यहाँ दर्शन सिर्फ एक पढ़ाई नहीं है, एक सीख है. क्या कहते हैं उसमें? समझो और महसूस करो. समझना पर्याप्त नहीं है, उसे जीना भी जरूरी है. Here the philosophy is not just something you study, you get the degree and this and that, you get the job. It is a way of learning. And here we have three important aspects. Way of learning means to think, to understand, and to feel it. Even today, these teachings are relevant. Even in the 21st century, these teachings are relevant. I would say they are more relevant in the age of AI and in the age of science and technology. These things are very relevant. And that is why most of the universities have that paper of IKS. My university offers one paper of Indian Knowledge System, because now we realize that these are not the things that we forget or we should forget, right? We must incorporate all these things in our daily lives. In a world obsessed with speed, efficiency, data, in this world, philosophy reminds us to pause. भाई थोड़ी देर रुको. It reminds us to pause. It reminds us to reflect, and it reminds us to ask one simple question. And the question is, am I living wisely? Am I aware of my actions? Yeah, what we call rat race, as T.S. Eliot in his beautiful poem, The Wasteland, right? He says, and I tell you one thing, that data damyata dayadvam, right? Teachers of English literature would be able to connect more. T.S. Eliot, he had taken the shloka from Brihad Aranya Upanishad. He said that this world can be cured properly if we follow Upanishad, Brihad Aranya Upanishad. He said, Data Damyata Daya. Data means to give, self-control, and Dayadvam, compassion, sympathy, right? So if we understand these things, if we don't understand all these things, this world is a wasteland, right? And we are in the rat race. Subah se uth ke shaam tak, we keep on moving just like a mad dog, right? From early morning to late night. ज्ञान तभी सार्थक होता है दोस्तों, जब हमारे विचार, हमारे शब्द और हमारे कर्म में उतरता है. Otherwise, it is information. Information transforms into knowledge when it becomes meaningful only when it shows in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions. It teaches us not just to think, but how to live. Let us learn from three simple events, right? एक दिन स्वामी आनंद अपने दो शिष्यों के साथ एक गांव की ओर जा रहे थे। रास्ते में तीन छोटी छोटी घटनाएं होती है। देखिए, ये तीनों को जिससे हम मोरालिटी कहते हैं, जिसे कंपैशन कहते हैं, वैसे तो मतलब दे आर वेरी हेवी टर्म्स, लेकिन इट रिमाइंड्स मी ऑफ वन स्टोरी ऑफ स्वामी आनंद। उसने कहा पहला जो है, an empty crossroad, Swami Anand stopped. He looked both the ways and then crossed the road. The disciple asked Swami ji, उसने कहा, गुरुदेव, कोई भी तो नहीं था, रोड पे कोई भी तो नहीं था. No one was there. Why were you so careful? Swami Anand replied. He said, my dear son, morality is not something you perform for others. It is the honesty you carry inside. That is the meaning of morality. Do the right thing, whether someone is watching or not. That is true integrity. Now let us understand what is compassion. A little further, Swami Anand और उसके शिष्य जा रहे थे, थोड़ा आगे चले. A calf, वो गाय का बच्चा, was stuck in mud. The villagers kept passing by, but no one stopped. Without saying a word, Swami Anand pulled the calf out. The disciple said, Gurudev, why did you stop alone? That was the farmer's job. जिसका बछड़ा था, उसका जो था, आप यहाँ क्यों खड़े रहे? आपने उसे क्यों बाहर निकाला? Then Swami Anand smiled and he said, compassion doesn't come from noting whose responsibility it is. It comes from keeping your heart soft. If we look at suffering and still walk away, the tenderness inside us begins to dry up. नरसिंह मेहता गुजरात के बहुत बड़े कवि हैं, वो कहते हैं वैष्णव जन तो तेने रे कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने. राइट, इन इंग्लिश आई ट्रांसलेट वैष्णव जन, राइट, जैसे हमारे बहुत अपर कास्ट के लोग होते हैं, वैष्णव जन कहलाते हैं. नरसिंह मेहता ने कहा कि देखिए भाई, कहाँ जन्म लेना, कौन सी कास्ट में, कौन सी कम्युनिटी में, वी हैड नो चॉइस एट ऑल. लेकिन वैष्णव जन कौन होता है? इफ आई अंडरस्टैंड योर पेन, इफ माई हार्ट बीट्स फॉर समबडी, some sufferer, then and then I am a Vaishnav Jan. Otherwise, even though I belong to the Vaishnav family or Vaishnav community, I am not a Vaishnav Jan unless there is some compassion in my heart for the other people. Then we come to know emotional intelligence. वो क्या होती है? स्वामी आनंद और उसके शिष्य थोड़ा आगे गए. A little farther down the path, the old man hurried by and accidentally bumped into Swami Anand. The disciples were about to scold him क्योंकि उसे टकरा गया. But Swami Anand stopped them and said to the old man, it's all right. You must be in a hurry. The old man replied, sorry, Babaji, I was not paying attention. As they continued walking, Swami Anand said, this is emotional intelligence, not taking every mistake as an insult. Sometimes people are troubled. Sometimes some people are anxious, and sometimes they are simply rushing. If we take everything to heart, life becomes very heavy. So, भूलना भी सीखना चाहिए, right? So, that is also emotional intelligence. Morality is inner honesty. Compassion is the softness of the heart, and the emotional intelligence is the ability to understand a situation. Right? कोई हमसे टकरा गया, तो ये situation को हमें समझना है. That is called emotional intelligence. That evening, the disciple realized that even a short journey can become a great teacher. पहले गुरु क्या करते थे? Directly उसको सिखाते नहीं, theories नहीं थी. वो अपने साथ लेके चलते थे शिष्यों को, और जो एक्सपीरियंस उसे होता था उससे सिखवाते थे. राइट, सो ये बहुत बड़ी एक परंपरा हमारी रही है. one of the most remarkable things about Indian philosophy is its openness to questions. वो जो गुरु थे वो अपने शिष्यों को फ्रीडम देते थे, पूछो. वो इट वाज नॉट जस्ट व्हेन वैसे जब हम क्लास में जाते हैं तो इफ इट इज द लेक्चर ऑफ 55 मिनट्स और 1 आवर तो मैं बोलता रहूं कोई पूछे नहीं मुझे, ऐसा नहीं था. क्वेश्चनिंग वाज एनकरेज्ड, डिबेट वाज वेलकम. Buddha questioned rituals. Then take the example of Mahir Swamiji. He questioned orthodoxy. Then I am reminded of Charvak. A Charvak questioned even the idea of eternal soul. लेकिन ये सभी अलग अलग मत के होने के बावजूद भी एक परंपरा के हिस्से थे, राइट. यहाँ विवाद विरोध नहीं था बल्कि संवाद का एक जरिया था. जैसे डिसएग्रीमेंट was not opposition. अगर कोई बात में आप मुझसे डिसएग्री होते हैं, it doesn't mean that you're opposing me. It was a way to open a conversation. This habit of questioning and reflecting gave Indian civilization its intellectual depth and spiritual wisdom. It reminds us of true philosophy. And true philosophy begins when curiosity turns into wonder, and when wonder turns into understanding. So this is the basic fact of Indian philosophy. I would just repeat. True philosophy begins when wonder turns into understanding and our curiosity turns into wonder. मैं सिंपल शब्दों में आपको समझाता हूं. ज्ञान वही शुरू होता है जहां आश्चर्य पैदा होता है. नॉलेज बिगिंस एट द वेरी मोमेंट वंडर अराइजेस. और यही आश्चर्य हमें सीखने और जीवन को समझने की प्रेरणा देता है. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू थ्रू ए टेल. अ सीकर यूज्ड टू विजिट ए गुरु एवरी डे. जैसे एक शिष्य था, अपने गुरु को मिलने रोज शाम को जाया करता था. वहां जाता था, शांति से बैठता था, गुरु की बात, गुरु से कुछ समझाते थे, सिखाते थे. He listened for a while and he lived. He never asked questions. He felt that asking questions was a sign of weakness and it won't look right in front of the guru. एक दिन क्या हुआ कि गुरु called him into a room. अंदर ले गए कमरे में शिष्य को. In front of them there were 2 cups. एक ग्लास था वो खाली था, राइट, और दूसरा जो ग्लास था वो पूरी तरह भरा हुआ था, चाय से भरा हुआ था. गुरु ने कहा, भैया चाय पी लो. द सीकर, वो शिष्य था, उसने कप उठाया क्योंकि कप तो पूरा भरा हुआ था, राइट, एंड इट वाज filled to the brim with tea. The moment he tried to sip, the tea spilled onto his hand. The cup was filled right to the edge. बहुत भरा था तो चाय गिर गई. The guru smiled and he said, see, कैसे गुरु शिक्षा कैसे देते थे, इसका एक उदाहरण है. Your mind is like that cup. It is already full. And what is full cannot learn. So हमें, जैसे हमारे मोबाइल में भी क्या होता है, स्टोरेज फुल हो जाती है, राइट. ये गूगल फोटोज में स्टोरेज फुल हो जाती है तो हमें कई फोटो जो ब्लर हो चुके हैं और इतने ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, कोई वीडियो है, कोई फाइल है, ईमेल्स है, हम क्या करते हैं, बारी बारी उसको क्लीन करते हैं. और कभी कभी क्या कहता है कि अपडेट भी करना जरूरी होता है. दिस इज इंडियन फिलोसॉफी. व्हेन यू क्लीन योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम इनसाइड एंड व्हेन यू अपडेट योरसेल्फ, आप हैंग नहीं होंगे, वरना क्या होंगे, हैंग हो जाओगे. हैंग होने का मतलब है स्ट्रेस, डिप्रेशन, जैसे आज की बहुत बड़ी बीमारी बन चुकी है, राइट. आज ही यहाँ राजकोट के बगल में गिर सोमनाथ है. गिर सोमनाथ में, शीतलबेन आपने खबर हशे, गिर सोमनाथ में
हाँ सर, एक BA
he committed suicide. He was so much stressed that he committed suicide. An educated person, क्योंकि उसको इलेक्शन का काम कोई करना था, राइट. तो क्या होता है, या सबसे ज्यादा हमें मारता है स्ट्रेस, क्योंकि सब कुछ साथ में लेके हम घूमते हैं। जैसे वो कप था ना, चाय का भरा हुआ कप था, तो गुरु ने कहा कि इट इज ऑलरेडी फुल एंड व्हाट इज फुल कैन नॉट लर्न। द सीकर फेल्ट एम्ब्रेस्ड, ही आस्क्ड, गुरुदेव देन हाउ डू आई एम्प्टी माई सेल्फ? सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन तो यही है। तो गुरु भी बहुत पहुंचे हुए थे, उसने कहा आस्क क्वेश्चंस, क्वेश्चंस एम्प्टी द माइंड, द वन हु आस्क creates space within, and only when there is space can new light enter. अगर स्पेस ही नहीं है, जैसे एक विवेकानंद की कहानी मुझे थोड़ी बहुत याद है, मैं आपको बता दूं। वन मदर ब्रॉट हिज सन टू विवेकानंद, उसे कहा गुरुजी, उसे वो ही रीड्स अ लॉट बट ही कैन नॉट रिमेंबर एनीथिंग, आप बताइए याद शक्ति को कैसे बढ़ाई जाए? तो विवेकानंद अपने कमरे में थे, तो उसका कोई वैसे कपड़ा था, तो उसने कहा जाके वो कबर्ड में रख के आओ। तो वो बच्चा गया, कबर्ड खोला, तो कबर्ड में इतनी सारी चीजें रखी थी कि सारी नीचे आ गई। उस लड़के ने बोला कि स्वामी जी वहीं पे तो कोई जगह ही नहीं है, कूड़े कचरे से कबर्ड भरा है। स्वामी जी ने कहा यही तो दिक्कत है, राइट? अवर माइंड, अवर मेमोरी इज जस्ट लाइक द हार्ड ड्राइव ऑफ अवर कंप्यूटर, राइट? जब तक उसमें जगह नहीं बनाओगे, कोई नई चीज आ ही नहीं सकेगी। कुछ भी सीखना है, प्रश्न पूछना पड़ेगा, अपने थोड़ी स्पेस बनानी पड़ेगी। सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द स्पेस इनसाइड। द सीकर लुक्ड एट एंड सेड, सो वन क्वेश्चन कैन ब्रिंग मी क्लोजर। उसने पूछा कि ऐसा कौन सा प्रश्न करूं? तो गुरु सेड, एवरी क्वेश्चन इज अ डोरवे। कुछ भी पूछो, लेकिन पूछो। इफ यू don't open the door, the light will stay outside. From that day onwards, the seeker's journey changed. Earlier, he came to understand. From that day onwards, he began to explore. Right? अभी तक क्या होता था? आता था, बैठता था, गुरुजी की बातें सुनता था, कुछ पूछता नहीं था। गुजराती में कहते हैं, पूछे तो पंडित थाय। If you ask question, you become a learned man. So, meaning of this anecdote or story is, knowledge doesn't begin with an answer. It begins with the questions. The one who asks grows. The one who doesn't ask stays locked inside the wall. So, why does this matter today? आज की जमाने में उसका क्या महत्व है? Because we live in the age of constant distractions. मैंने आगे भी कहा कि right from early morning to late night we keep on running, right? हर कोई भाग रहा है, जाना कहाँ है भाई किसी को पता नहीं है। कोई पैसे के पीछे भाग रहा है, कोई सक्सेस के पीछे भाग रहा है। we have access to endless information but very little insight नहीं है, नहीं। इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत आ गई, लेकिन इंसाइट आती है एक फिलोसॉफिकल एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स लाइफ से। इंडियन फिलोसॉफी रिमाइंड्स अस टू कनेक्ट नॉलेज विथ लाइफ, रिफ्लेक्शन विथ एक्शन एंड अवर इंटेलेक्ट विथ कंपेशन। इंटेलेक्ट बहुत हो गए, राइट? बहुत बुद्धिमान हो गए, लेकिन वो कंपेशन कहां से लाओगे, राइट? रिफ्लेक्शन बहुत है, सोचते बहुत है, लेकिन एक्शन जीरो है, राइट? सो नॉलेज को लाइफ से कनेक्ट करो, रिफ्लेक्शन को एक्शन से कनेक्ट करो, और इंटेलेक्ट को कंपेशन से कनेक्ट करो। आज के जमाने में जब हम सब कुछ तेजी से सीख रहे हैं, हमें वो मैगी तरह 2 मिनट में बन जानी चाहिए, नहीं, हमें बहुत धैर्य नहीं है, राइट? वी आर इम्पेशेंट, हमारे पास पेशेंस इस चीज में। तब भी हमें धीरे रहकर सोचने और समझने की जरूरत है। फिलोसॉफी हमें ये याद दिलाती है केवल जानना ही पर्याप्त नहीं है। दैट मीन्स नो इज नॉट इनफ, हमें जीना भी है, नहीं, और समझना भी है, अंडरस्टैंड भी करना है, उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है। सो अंडरस्टैंड 3 वर्ड्स, जानना पर्याप्त नहीं है, जीना भी है और समझना भी है। टू नो इज नॉट इनफ, वी हैव टू लीव, नहीं, और वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड। द स्पिरिट ऑफ इंडियन फिलोसॉफी is so simple and still yet profound. Live consciously, learn deeply, and remain open to the wonder. ज्ञान और दर्शन का यही तो सार है. सत्य को समझो, जीवन में उतारो और हमेशा वंडर, आश्चर्य. Now that we have explored the Indian knowledge system and the spirit of philosophy, let me tell you something about the learning and life. But there is a catch. In Indian tradition, learning was never just about exams and grades and percentage and what we call certificate, डिग्रियां नहीं थी. ये शिक्षा का मतलब सिर्फ किताबों या परीक्षा तक सीमित नहीं था. शिक्षा का असली उद्देश्य था जीवन को समझना और उसे बेहतर बनाना. Education was seen as a transformative process. Every lesson, every practice, every interaction was meant to shape the character. Not only the character तो ठीक है, intellect in the heart of the learner, right? So it is not all about degrees and grades and certificates, right? Think about the Gurukul system, for example. Students lived with their gurus. जैसे भगवान श्री कृष्ण भी सांदीपनी के आश्रम में रहते थे, हमें पता है. भगवान श्री राम भी पढ़ने वहां गए थे. वो तो राजकुमार थे, भगवान राम तो. गुरु महल में नहीं आए, शिष्य को वहां जाना पड़ा. भगवान कृष्ण को सांदीपनी ऋषि के आश्रम में जाना पड़ा. So students lived with their gurus in the ashrams were in the forests, right? They didn't just sit in classroom the way our students sit in the classroom. They lived the learning. ये बहुत important है. They lived the learning from every experience, from every word, from every sentence of the guru. You may think the children only studied, but in reality, they learned the deeper lessons of life. They learned the discipline, they learned endurance, and living in harmony with the nature. Their day was structured, but full of meaning. Waking up early in the morning, then meditation. They used to clean the ashrams. They used to study scriptures, learning the arts, helping in daily course, and everything was education, right? मैंने कहा नहीं, सिर्फ किताबों में नहीं था. Every action was education. Nothing was separate. यहाँ पढ़ाई सिर्फ बुद्धि से नहीं, बुद्धि के लिए नहीं थी, बल्कि आत्मा और चरित्र के विकास के लिए थी. And the most important part is students learned by observing and participating, not just memorizing. This is the basic difference between Indian philosophy of learning, Indian philosophy of education, and the modern education. आज क्या होता है? Memorize कर ले तोते की तरह, right? But we don't observe. Our students, we don't observe, because observing and participating is more important than simply memorizing. If the guru practiced humanity, the students learn humility. If the guru respected nature, the students respected nature. Knowledge was lived and not merely spoken. ये बहुत बड़ी बात, राइट? वो जीते थे, ज्ञान को जीते थे, ज्ञान की बातें नहीं करते थे. जैसे our children follows, no? अगर मैं शराब पी रहा हूं तो मेरे बच्चों को सिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है, और मैं उसे कह भी नहीं सकता ना. So they would just imitate. So guru taught the students in a little different way than we teach our students. And learning was a holistic growth. जिसे कहते हैं overall development. Education in India was holistic. It nurtured head, heart, and hand. 3H. Not just head and hands. It was head, heart, and hands. Intellectual, emotional, and the practical skills. So ज्ञान केवल यहाँ नहीं था, सिर में नहीं था, यहाँ भी था, हृदय में भी था, और कर्म में भी था. कर्म में भी उतरना चाहिए. Students learned logic and reasoning through nyaya. They learned self-discipline and focus through yoga. They learned ethics and duty through mimamsa. They learned creativity and expression through arts, music, poetry, so on and so forth. Every discipline was tied to life, whatever be the discipline, whether it is music, poetry, art, न्याय, logic, कुछ भी हो, जिंदगी से जुड़ा हुआ था सब कुछ. And every lesson was tied to the self-awareness. It was not just what to know, but how to be, what to know. I would quote it, right? It was not just about what to know. क्या जानना है नहीं, क्या बनना है, इसके बारे में था. किताबों में लिखा ज्ञान केवल जानकारी हो सकती है, इंफॉर्मेशन हो सकती है, लेकिन जीवन में जो ज्ञान उतर जाता है, राइट, वही सच्चा ज्ञान है. Let us understand through a small story. I recall one story.
Sir, can I interrupt for a brief
Yes,
moment?
Yes.
Sir, just wanted to give you a time check. It's 7:55. So
Okay.
if we can conclude, then we can have some
I
questions
won't take
from
more
our
than 2
participants.
minutes. I
Yeah.
won't take more than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
The story that is in my mind, I want to share.
Sure, sir. Please go
A
ahead.
monk in his ashram, young disciple, college का कोई student होगा, वो आया और उसने कहा, गुरुदेव, I want to learn very fast. I don't have time. और वही जेन जी की बात करते हैं ना, उसके पास सब कुछ है, टाइम नहीं है, फटाफट करवा दो. I want to grasp knowledge. I want to meditate in the scriptures as quickly as possible. I want to progress with speed. मेरे पास टाइम नहीं, सब कुछ है लेकिन टाइम फटाफट करवा दो. तो वो गुरु थे, उसने एक बीज दिया और उसको कहा कि जाओ भाई प्लांट दिस. ने सीड दिया, बीज दिया. एवरी डे टेल इट, रोज जाके उसको बोलना है, ग्रो फास्ट, गिव फ्रूट क्विकली, देन कम बैक एंड टेल मी व्हाट हैपेंड. वो डिसाइपल तो गया and he did exactly that on the first day, and he spoke to the seed. On the second day, he did the same thing. On the third day, he even shouted like anything. Still, the seed stayed silent, unmoved by all his impatience. After a week, he returned. He was frustrated. Gurudev, this seed does nothing. How much more effort should I take? Should I make? The monk replied calmly, बच्चे देखो, seed doesn't grow upward first. It grows inward. It strengthens its roots. Learning works the same way. You want knowledge, but not the roots. Right? The disciple fell silent. The monk continued, if you want only information, that can grow quickly. Right? अगर आपको माहिती वो information चाहिए तो वो quickly हो सकती है. But if you want to transform from within, then it takes time. It takes patience and balance. Learning is not just a matter of the mind. It is the expression of your whole being. Your heart, your sensitivity, your understanding, your compassion, and the vision must all grow together. Only then does learning becomes life. For the first time that day, the disciple वो लड़का आया था, he understood that growth shouldn't just be fast, right? It should be complete. Or meaning of the story is, real learning is not about collecting information. It is full inner and outer growth, where the mind, where the heart, our experiences, our awareness, they rise together. Only then does learning becomes the whole. So one can speak on Indian knowledge system for weeks and weeks. One can speak on Indian philosophy for hours and hours, but time doesn't permit us. So finally, I conclude, and here is the time to ask me questions.
Thank you so much, sir. I am very sure that none of us here have liked that I gave a time check. I'm sure all the participants are ready to spend more time listening to you about Indian philosophy, but simply in the interest of time and just to make it a little bit discussion oriented and interactive. We are now open for questions. And
Pallavi Joshi's comment is very
yes.
interesting. She says, listening and agreeing to you, sir, regarding holistic development. I very humbly like to mention that Banasthali Vidyapit has a five-fold education framework, Panchmukhi Vikas. I am very happy, madam. Yeah. Many congratulations to physical education, practical. Yes, very nice. This is what exactly happened in Gurukuls. No,
Yes,
they didn't teach the things. No, they just practice themselves, right?
Yeah.
And Gujarati માં કહેવત છે કુવામાં હોય તો હવાડામાં આવે, હે ને મેડમ નિધિ? So if I'm empty from within, how can I give something to my students? Right? I must be enriched. There must be some prosperity inside the guru. And
Yes.
if the guru poor from within, nothing can be learnt. Very helpful practice.
Yes, I think Sheetal Thakur madam also mentioned about Chausat Kala. And in yesterday's session, Dr. Sandeep sir vividly talked about Chauda Vidya and Chausat Kala. And I must also share that Pallavi Joshi ma'am, who is with Banasthali Vidyapit, they're also organizing events like Shastrarth in their campus. So,
Right.
And I think there are some YouTube videos on the same. So participants can just go and check. There is a question by Rajni ji, sir.
Right.
Could you please simplify reflection with action?
Reflection with action, they are inseparable from each other, right? If there is a lot of reflection, ये सोचते बहुत है लेकिन करते कुछ नहीं है, right? अगर सीधी सादी भाषा में आपको समझाऊं, रिफ्लेक्शन बहुत है, राइट? मुझे ये करना है, मुझे यूपीएससी, मतलब करो, मतलब रिफ्लेक्शन होते हैं लेकिन करते तो कुछ नहीं। जैसे मुझे लगता है कि मतलब 2025 में मैं रोज मॉर्निंग वॉक में जाऊंगा, मैं जिम ज्वाइन करूंगा। सो रिफ्लेक्शन इज नॉट एवरीथिंग। बड़ी बात है, आप सोचते हो, ये आई एग्री, ये बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि सबसे पहले प्लेटो जैसे कहते हैं ना, थिंकिंग इज द फर्स्ट ओरिजिनल आइडिया, राइट? सो नथिंग इज ओरिजिनल इन द वर्ल्ड, बट रिफ्लेक्शन अलोन इज नॉट इनफ। एक्शन में it should turn into action. This is what I meant to say.
Yeah, and sir, you also said it very beautifully when you mentioned that आज जो है हम बहुत सारी बातें करते हैं ज्ञान की, but we don't put it into action. And
Right.
we can see it all around us. Like for example, somebody will come, they will talk great things, but उनके आचरण में वो हमें नहीं दिखता. And
Right.
that becomes very disappointing. Whereas our knowledge system was not just about talking, thinking, it was also about the right action. Okay.
Right. इसीलिए
yes.
तो मैडम इसकी इम्पैक्ट नहीं आती है, राइट?
Yeah.
मैं बहुत कुछ, लेकिन इम्पैक्ट क्यों नहीं आती? आचरण में नहीं है। थियोरी बहुत सारी है हमारी, राइट? नहीं है।
Yeah. I would just like to give example of the recent awardees of the Padma Awards. अगर आप थोड़ा एक्सप्लोर करें सभी लोग, इस पे एक बहुत अच्छी पुस्तक भी लिखी हुई है, पद्म भारती. If you look at the list of Padma awardees, those who have got Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Shri, you will see many of them are from the rural backgrounds. दूर दराज भारत के कोनों में ये लोग रह रहे हैं, बातें नहीं कर रहे हैं, action. One lady who had received the Padma Award recently, she died at the age of 105 years. She was from some remote district in Karnataka. I don't remember the name of the district. She and her husband planted 8,000 trees. Okay? 8,000 trees one lady planted. With her husband, she made it a life mission to plant trees. So उसने कोई बातें नहीं की होगी, उन्होंने lectures नहीं दिए होंगे, वो पढ़ी लिखी भी नहीं थी. She was a very simple, down-to-earth lady, but look at the action. So please explore this book, Padma Bhartis by Indic Academy by Mr. Jay Jeena. He has compiled the inspiring stories of these individuals from the hinterlands of India. भारत के कोनों कोनों में हमें पता भी नहीं है, ऐसे लोग इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं. मुझे लगता है वो सही मायने में भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को जी रहे हैं.
मैडम, वो मांझी ने पूरा पर्वत काट दिया कहीं रास्ता बनाने के लिए.
Yes,
right?
yes.
He has no degree. He doesn't know what is Indian philosophy, Western philosophy. ज्ञान कर्म, वो उसको भगवत गीता भी नहीं पढ़ी है, लेकिन
Yeah.
सबसे बड़ा की वही है, राइट?
Yes.
We talk about philosophy, we don't leave it.
Yes. So there are many participants who are expressing gratitude to you for your
Thank you.
session. Excellent session. One participant has requested for one more session with sir. So,
Oh, it's an
Monica
honor.
ji.
Thank
So
you.
let me, without taking even sir's permission, announce that we are going to invite sir to talk about his latest book on Indian knowledge systems. And
Right.
I'm sure sir will not say no.
Yeah, madam, I'll send you the copy of the book. Just share your address. Good evening, sir. I have a question that why the youths of our nation, especially in the classroom, as I am from Teacher Training Institute, students are lacking interest in philosophy. Because philosophy को हमने इतना difficult बना दिया है, right? जैसे philosophy को समझाते हैं, तो explain with an anecdote. Students, everyone is interested in the stories and anecdotes. नहीं, वो पंचतंत्र की जो बातें हैं, वो भी philosophy है. जैसे कछुए और उसके बीच रेस लगी थी, और थर्स्टी क्रो की हमने कहानी सुनी है. इट इज ऑल्सो फिलोसॉफी. सो इन एवरी टेल, इन एवरी स्टोरी वी हैव फिलोसॉफिकल बेंट ऑफ माइंड, राइट? So philosophy is not a dry subject, right? It depends upon who teaches philosophy. So philosophy is not a subject to be taught. It is a thing to be lived.
Yeah.
Glad to know that we will be having
Prachi ji is already saying that the stories that you have narrated in this session, she is going to use these stories in her classroom, right, Prachi ji?
Yes.
Direct your comment.
Sure.
And Nidhi, I tell you, teachers' pockets should be full of stories and anecdotes, right? अगर कुछ चीजें समझानी है, तो ये वो स्टूडेंट चाहे 40 साल का हो या 5 साल का हो, 4 साल का हो, everybody likes stories. So
Yes. Yeah, Prachi ji, you want to add something else?
No. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll just quickly respond to Vijaya ji's question. Yes, Vijaya ji, recording of Vaja sir's session will be available. Don't worry about the recording. And another session with sir also, I'm promising all of you, you can all join. Whenever we are hosting sir next, you can all join. Sir, Dr. मतलब सर की परमिशन नहीं ली, मैंने अनाउंस ही कर दिया, बट मुझे विश्वास है कि सर मना नहीं करेंगे. Sir, there is request to please share your email ID if you can. It will be great.
Yes.
For all the participants.
What is wrong in that? What is wrong?
Yes. And this book that sir has recently compiled, written, it is on Indian knowledge system. So we are planning to host sir for a book discussion.
Here is my email ID.
Yeah.
Here is my phone number.
Yes. Sir, there is one question by Dr. Dikshita. ज्ञान और प्रज्ञा में क्या अंतर है?
ज्ञान, जैसे मुझे ज्ञान है कि मुझे फैट वाला नहीं खाना चाहिए, राइट? ये इंफॉर्मेशन, ज्ञान और प्रज्ञा, राइट? ये दे आर सो मच क्लोज, देयर इज अ थिन डिवाइडिंग लाइन, राइट? एंड आई नीड एटलीस्ट 1 hour to explain the difference between ज्ञान and प्रज्ञा, राइट? वो ज्ञान का आगे का जो स्टेज है, राइट? प्रज्ञावान बोलते, ज्ञानी हो सकता है आदमी, प्रज्ञावान होना उससे बड़ी बात है. जैसे मैंने एमफिल कर लिया, उसके बाद पीएचडी, एमफिल भी रिसर्च है और पीएचडी उससे आगे की रिसर्च है, राइट? और पोस्ट डॉक्टरल है, जैसे असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर होते हैं, देन एसोसिएट होते हैं, देन प्रोफेसर रैंक के होते हैं, राइट? सो ये दे आर द डिफरेंट रैंक्स, बट वी डू द सेम थिंग. We teach in the class. Assistant professor also teaches in the class. Associate या professor है, right? So प्रज्ञा है, उसके आगे का स्टेज है. जो प्रज्ञावान होते, जैसे रामकृष्ण परमहंस, right? वो ज्ञानी तो थे, लेकिन वो प्रज्ञावान थे, जो अपना ज्ञान किसी और में मतलब इंस्टॉल भी कर सकते हैं, right? प्रज्ञावान थे.
Yeah, very good question, Dr. Dikshita. I must appreciate your question also.
Dhanyavad,
Yes, Sheetal.
Good. I think Gyan is knowledge and Prajna is genius.
Genius. See,
That is what I
उसके बाद शीतल मैडम, आपने बात उठाई तो मैं कह दूं, जे 2 शब्द और हैं, एक स्कॉलर है और जीनियस है. स्कॉलर्स, वी कैन मेक स्कॉलर्स, पर जीनियस आर बोर्न. जैसे शेक्सपियर, वो ज्यादा पढ़ा लिखा नहीं था, शेक्सपियर पे पर 50 लोगों ने पीएचडी कर दी. He was a genius. नरसिंह मेहता, उसके नाम की यूनिवर्सिटी है. He was almost illiterate, प्रज्ञावान पुरुष थे वो,
हाँ,
वो
बिल्कुल।
जीनियस थे। आगे का स्टेज, बहुत आगे का स्टेज।
Definitely.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, absolutely right, sir. And
This is an unending discussion, madam. This is an unending
Yeah.
discussion. बहुत मजा आया मुझे
चलिए।
आपसे
sir,
मिलके।
one more,
Sir.
if we have scope and time for
Yeah.
one more comment or question, if you have the time, sir.
Yes, I'm available.
Yes, Supriti ji, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening. This was a wonderful session, sir.
Thank you
The
very
thing
much,
which you,
madam.
the thing which you told, storytelling, yes, that is a very good way to hold the student.
Right.
Sir, but when we talk about the student, case study, scenario, I do everything. But many a times, mobile ban kara dete, but it's very difficult to grab the attention. Because the Gurukul thing we cannot revive back. Matlab, Vanasthali people can do because that is a residential university, but we cannot do
Right.
that thing. So can you
Right.
give certain tips by which
See.
we really want to hold the attention of the student?
Right. पहले मतलब अगर मैं हिंदी में बताऊं तो एक नाइफ है, जैसे आई हैव वन नाइफ, आई कैन कट vegetables with the knife, I can cut my finger with the knife.
Yeah.
Now, knife is not responsible. The person who uses the knife is responsible. जैसे आज ही मैंने क्लास में क्या हुआ कि मैंने बच्चों से कहा कि चलो आप सब मोबाइल निकालिए और सर्च कीजिए। मैं एलिजाबेथ एनेज के बारे में पढ़ा रहा था, राइट, मैं रेनेसा के बारे में पढ़ा रहा था, तो बच्चे इतने मतलब खुश हो गए कि चलो भाई एलिजाबेथ एनेज, हु वाज क्वीन एलिजाबेथ, राइट। तो इसका मतलब सही यूज भी कर सकते हैं। सो टेक्नोलॉजी इज ए काइंड ऑफ हेल्पिंग हैंड, राइट। सो अगर आप उसे कहोगे कि ये नहीं करना है तो वो 2 बार करेंगे और वो ज्यादा करेंगे। उसे ये मत कहो कि चलो भाई आज से मोबाइल किसी को खोलना नहीं, मोबाइल खुला ही रखो अपना, चलो गूगल खोलो, एआई खोलो, चैट जीपीटी खोलो और उसमें आप लिखो। नाउ इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन हाउ यू गिव द कमांड टू एआई, राइट। सो ऐसे करके भी थोड़ा मतलब उसको डाइवर्ट किया जा सकता है।
Okay, okay, sir. Thank
लेकिन ये
you.
समस्या तो है मैडम, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट, ये समस्या हर जगह है ना। उसको मोबाइल एक जैसे हो गया है, व्यसन हो गया है।
Yeah. Supriti ji, your question is very apt, appropriate.
Yes.
Maybe when we start these sessions next week, some of us can join a little bit early, 5-10 minutes early, and have some kind of discussion on this. Like, I would definitely love to answer your question, put some perspective onto it, but it just needs some time. So let's take it up next week.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. We will do that. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. तो शीतल मैम ने हाथ रेस किया है।
I would like to include something to what Supriti has said right now. That I think main objective of NEP is to implement and revive Guru Shishya Parampara through holistic development and all. That is what I personally feel.
Yes.
And the title of our FDP is also the same. How to implement IKS.
Yeah, how to reclaim it. It is all our own.
Yeah.
And we see so many Western scholars doing research and stuff on this, but this is our own. We have to reclaim it. We have to bring it back to our classroom.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Sheetal ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yes, as Vaja sir rightly said, I can see a lot of comments, sir. Many people are saying they enjoyed your session. It was such a nice session. But the moot point is they would like to listen to you again. And I must also admit that your students must be absolutely lucky, fortunate, privileged to have such a learned teacher with them every day in and day out. They are able to learn from you. So
I'm blushing.
No, seriously, sir. And I can also tell you कि जो बीच में सर गुजराती में आप बता रहे थे कि ये कहावत है, आप सोचिए कि सर को कितना मल्टीपल कॉम्पिटेंसीज है। अगर वो गुजराती में बात करेंगे तो आई थिंक द लेवल ऑफ द इंटेलेक्चुअल चर्निंग विल बी वेरी डिफरेंट, बिकॉज व्हेन वी कम्युनिकेट इन आवर ओन लैंग्वेज, even though he's a person from English literature, I'm pretty sure that he is very adept and proficient at Gujarati also. The way he was in between bringing in pearls of wisdom from the civilization and heritage in Gujarat. So on behalf of Team NLD and on behalf of our collaborating institution, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, Punjab, I would extend my gratitude to Dr. Vaja sir for first of all accepting our invitation to be on our platform. We all know that all the experts who have graced this platform, they must be very busy handling multiple tasks, but I think it takes a heart and a mind with a lot of wisdom, gratitude, and open energy to just come and share with so much of faith. So thank you so much, sir. તમે આવ્યા છો એ અમારી માટે બહુ જ મોટી વસ્તુ છે. અમારા NLD પ્લેટફોર્મની શોભા વધી ગઈ છે તમારા પ્રેઝન્સથી. So thank you so much once again, and we really look forward to having you again in the next month. Hopefully, I'm just coordinating with Dr. Vikas so that you can share about your book, especially because I think faculty members, when they are taking IKS to the classroom, there is also a struggle with what resources, what academic material to use with respect to IKS. I'm sure all of us have been using Professor B. Mahadevan's textbook on IKS. At least my journey in IKS started with that, but I'm very sure that Vaja sir's book will also throw some light on how effectively IKS can be taken to the classroom. So once again, thank you so much, sir. Tamne khub aabhar, and really like to stay in touch and and benefit from your guidance and mentorship, which is what we all need at the moment. Sir has shared his number, his email ID. The recording will be available, and we will now all be meeting on Monday 24th for sessions of the coming week. So on Saturday, tomorrow and Sunday, there are no sessions. Now the course sessions will be resuming on Monday 24th. So thank you everyone, and namaste. Have a great evening. Thank you, Vaja sir. Thank you so much. We will share the recording with you, sir. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Please feel free to share any feedback that you have with respect to the session so far. You can post a message in the chat box when we have the next session, and please join on Monday. Thank you.